Ambassador, thank you for your time. We will talk in a moment about South Africa's position around that issue in Ukraine, the conflict, and also about efforts to try and help South Africans stuck there. But I thought I should start with your understanding of where things stand in as far as this conflict is concerned, because I'm getting a sense of mixed signals. Reports talk of the possibility of a meeting between Russia and Ukraine on the border of Belarus being a possibility. That's positive, that's promising, but at the same time, reports also indicate that the Russian president, Vladimir Putin, has placed the nuclear deterrent on special alert, which doesn't suggest that it will be used, the nuclear option, but it's on special alert in reaction to what he says is NATO's provocation. This, as your president is now calling for and establishing a foreign legion to say people should volunteer and join and help Ukraine in fighting. So this evening, what is your understanding of where things stand in that conflict?
Good evening. So first of all, let's start from that the situation is not that optimistic that you might see it. And you heard it from your compatriots on the ground. It's very serious, and some measures have to be taken by all the world to stop Putin, because now he is threatening not only Ukraine, he's threatening all the world with his nuclear weapon. So the negotiations that you are talking about, I think this is kind of fake news, because Belarus mobilized just recently their troops, and their troops are moving towards Ukraine. So anyhow, no way that Belarus can be a mediator in this process anymore. So obviously we see that Belarus was just taken silently. It's under Russia. The military forces are not anymore taking orders from the president of Belarus. They're taking orders from Russian president. And I don't know what's going to happen, because I'm sure that Belarus people will not, I hope they will not stay and still and look how the troops are going to kill Ukrainian people, or how we are going to fight back. And we don't want any innocent people to suffer from this.
Yeah.
I think that some developments that you must be aware on the ground in Ukraine, that we are resisting the biggest army in Europe already for 3 days with all possible means, but only with our own military people. Our positions are still very strong, and obviously the intention of Putin was to get Kiev very quickly. He didn't expect that much resistance, and he underestimated the support of international community to Ukraine. We can speak separately about that.
Yeah.
Meantime, yes, as you mentioned, the Foreign Legion, this is not something new. This is something that exists already for a couple of years before the second wave of aggression. And this legion is welcoming any foreigner who wants to join the military forces of Ukraine. There is a certain procedure, and now when Ukraine is under attack, obviously the president took decision to call on all volunteers to show their solidarity with Ukrainian people.
Yeah, let's talk a bit about your president's leadership at this current moment. How do you believe it's being received and being read by Ukrainians, particularly in light of what we've seen recently? You'll know because of his career previously that how some people choose to perceive him. But in this moment of the Russian onslaught, he appears to have stepped to the fore, and we've seen, those pictures of him walking the streets, and we've seen him in military fatigue and saying that, he's not giving an inch and he will die fighting for Ukraine. So your sense of how Ukrainians are receiving and perceiving his leadership?
If during the election of the president, more than 70% supported this candidate, I believe that today you will hardly find even one person who is not supporting him in Ukraine. We believe in our president, we trust him, we see strong leadership. We have a very sad, or how to say, joke, because there are some rumors that the president was offered to be evacuated from Kiev by some Western authorities through helicopter. And the joke says there is no such a helicopter that can take on its board that heavy man.
Ambassador, let me ask you. Yeah.
Speaks about different parts of the body, but I'm a diplomat. I cannot allow myself to.
Let me ask you something else, Ambassador. Just from your perspective, you are from the area of Odessa in Ukraine. Just what is the news in terms of your own family that is there, but also the state of that city, and how other people in other cities? I see reports from the second city of Kharkiv suggesting that there was an onslaught overnight, and the Ukrainian officials are reporting that they've been able to repel that onslaught. So, but just start with your own family and other people in the area of Odessa and other cities.
So it happened so that our families are spread through all the country. My family is in Odessa, someone's family is in Kharkiv, someone's family is in Irpin, which is very close to Kiev. So we're receiving the information from the first hands, and it's terrible. We see from our windows how the civil buildings being under missile attacks. In some cities you will not find the place where it was not damaged. So it's very hurts to speak about it. The people who are not in the army, they are hiding in the shelters. And those who are in the army, they, like in Odessa, they are patrolling the streets, and the provocations are expected there. The Kharkiv region is very under tense bombings, and the family members mostly are sitting in the shelters underground. Yeah, this is the situation. And obviously, we because the enemy didn't expect that we would last long for that time. So now they are changing the tactics, and the shellings are very random. If before the concentration was mainly on certain areas, now of course the priority is Kiev, because this is the heart of the country, and there the government is, and none of the members of the government left Kiev. So they are going to go till the end. I hope till their end.
Ambassador, let me take this interview to the nub of part of what you do as the representative of Ukraine in South Africa. There's a story I'm sure you will have seen on the Sunday Times that basically says President Cyril Ramaphosa is unhappy with the statement from a few days ago from our Department of International Relations and Cooperation, which included the call for Russia to withdraw its forces from Ukraine. We've tried, I think, twice through our Sipamandla Goke to get the president to put voice to that call, and he simply won't, which leaves to the audiences that we are broadcasting to interpret what that means, whether the president is on board or not with that call. But certainly the issue of diplomacy and mediation is being emphasized by both the president and Dirko. Before I ask you the question, may we please listen to the president asked that question again by Siphamandla Goke this afternoon.
We've made our position very clear. War, in our view, is devastating to everyone, to ordinary people, to the country where war is raging, and we have called for mediation. We believe that this conflict needs to be mediated, and there needs to be proper and positive engagement on this conflict. And we've called upon the UN Security Council to immediately engage on finding ways of mediation and even find outstanding mediators who will be able to engage with the leaders of the various countries that are affected by this. Mediation, in our view, is the best way. We were able to engage with our enemies, and we found a solution to what was regarded as an intractable problem in the world, bringing apartheid to an end.
So, Ambassador, I don't believe there'll be any confusion around South Africa's call for mediation. But are you any clearer whether there's equivocation on the part that says South Africa calls on Russia to withdraw its forces from Ukraine?
We all read the statement of Dirko, which I believe the official position of the government of South Africa. I will not allow myself to comment on the words of the newspaper that quoted the president saying he was happy or unhappy, because I think that the position that Dirko announced was absolutely clear. The call for mediation from such a country as South Africa is absolutely proven by the fact of a long history of South Africa being a very successful mediator. And not only as South Africa, but His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa himself is a very respected mediator. So I strongly believe that his initiative would become a really very effective, efficient proposal and initiative, if that would be the case. The appeal of His Excellency, the President of South Africa, to the United Nations Security Council, obviously it's something that we were doing and been doing through all the story of the conflict since 2014, when we were trying to keep this in the framework of diplomatic solution. And we were calling on every meeting of United Nations General Assembly that the situation is escalating, that this is something that all the world must watch, because today in the world we don't have local conflicts. We have something more global, which affects, as we spoke before, which affects not only one territory or one economy. It affects everyone, and at the end of the day, us simple people. So the appeal to the United Nations Security Council, I would argue here, if you allow me, that the council can be efficient when on the board, as a permanent member of council, you have a Russia with its veto right. Anything that unanimously all the members would decide and approve and support will be under veto of Russia. So we need still to negotiate, and it's a very important forum. Why? Because that forum shows to all the world real position and real democracy of each particular country, its strength, its leadership, and its readiness for leadership. We were very proud of Kenya with the statement that they did during the previous United Nations Security Council as representative of all African countries. If you didn't read it, I encourage you to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a very strong statement from the ambassador from Kenya. Ambassador, just for the avoidance of any doubt on my part or confusion on my part, did I hear correctly that not only do you commend President Ramaphosa on his call for mediation, are you suggesting that there's a role for him to play in that mediation?
I believe so. Moreover, I wish I could discuss this with His Excellency, and we made appropriate request to the presidency for the special meeting with myself being representative of the government of Ukraine. So if I do have such an opportunity, I definitely will speak about this option. Sorry.
Do you believe he would have the ear of the main protagonists being Vladimir Putin and President Zelensky?
I don't doubt in the President Zelensky position, because we will accept any help in mediation that can influence aggressor. From the South African side, I believe that that's your government that is saying about the importance of BRICS and equality in this organization. And then you have strategic partnership with Russian Federation, which is very important. That's strategic thing. So I hope that the president of Russia, if he is still in his healthy mind, he would avoid speaking to his strategic partner and to listen to his advice.
Ambassador, the other issue that I wanted to tease at, and thank you for your views, by the way, on this mediation suggestion and proposal by President Ramaphosa. The other issue has to do with South Africans who are trying to exit Ukraine. And I saw that you were tweeting about that particular topic. What are you able to say about your government's ability to, under the circumstances which everyone can see, secure a passage or a corridor or corridors for those foreign nationals, including South Africans, to be able to exit? Or is that something that's, at the moment completely out of your control?
Unfortunately, this situation is under my control and under control of your ambassador in South Africa and in your ambassador in Poland and your embassy in Netherlands. And in Ukraine, in this particular time, the border service of Ukraine is preparing to stand in front. In this particular time, they're preparing with their guns to protect themselves because the troops just at their door. I was trying to speak half an hour ago with the head of border service of Ukraine, and I received that answer, and I will not call because I know that they are doing the same that they are doing to us, to your citizens. They are trying to protect them. The situation is difficult because the chaos is rising. The people are not only worried, they are trying to run away, and the borders that can accept them, they are limited in capabilities. And it's not only about Ukrainian border. We must understand that these are two points of control. One is Ukrainian, another one is Polish, for example, or one is Ukrainian, another one is Hungarian or Romanian. And the rules are still in there. They cannot open the gate for the students, and students are just running. Or people from Ukraine who are women and children. Under martial law, you don't, and the mobilization, men are not allowed now to go out of Ukraine, those who are between 18 and 16. So the queue of 30 kilometers from Ukraine to Poland, 30 kilometers. People are staying several days already. And the women and women and children are priority. So we had some concerns today in the morning when foreign students were saying that they are separating them from ladies, and we had to engage with them and to explain that, listen, if the bombing is starting now, let the women go first. This is something ethical to do. Then obviously the nerves are on the high tension now, and people already not behave. They are, not to say not friendly, they're tired and they are screaming at each other. We see a lot of unpleasant things that are happening and between Ukrainians. So we are trying to do, as I said, we're trying to be in control by which means.
Yeah.
First of all, we are in contact with all EU ambassadors here and with neighboring countries. Lesotho, Eswatini, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Madagascar, Mozambique, Mauritius. Some of the honorary consuls established some kind of WhatsApp groups. So they're trying to be in touch and keep the people together when they're crossing the border. If there is an issue with some language, that they can assist. In our case, we had also to step in to help your ambassador in Ukraine because he is in Kiev. He cannot be on the ground. He cannot physically leave. It's just not only not safe, it's just impossible. The posts are everywhere, and the tanks on the street, and Russian troops are there. So he is trying to be mobile, and he is in communication there and there with the students.
Sure.
We are taking these numbers from our side, consul, all my staff. We are calling, asking. The situation is painful because they are someone's children, and we understand it. And when this child tells you, we didn't eat since morning, it hurts you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I'm disappeared.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
And we also calling to our personal friends who live in this region. We say, listen, we have a group of people in Lviv. Can you go? Can you feed them? Can you show them where to go for the train, etc., etc. So it's a lot of.
Sure.
I know that at the end of the day, we will not be able to cover everyone. But I heard some unpleasant remarks, and this situation is used with not our friends, let's say this, in a very completely wrong way when they say that foreigners are not welcomed. And it hurts because we are standing for the sovereignty and liberty of all the people. And now we are accused, having such a long history of starting since Ukrainian Republic was the part of USSR. We started, the people from South Africa and from the region were in Ukrainian cities. We have such a huge support from them here now. And these people, 16,000, not South African, sorry, African students in Ukraine being peacefully and lucky studying in Ukraine. And now I will not allow any speculations on that.
Yeah.
Yes, there are some problems. There are problems, but we are trying to solve it all possible means altogether.
Right. Ambassador, I've got to thank you for generously sharing your time with me. I know that we had set you down for about 10-15 minutes, but we did go on for a little bit, and I thank you for your indulgence. That is Ambassador Liubov Abravitova, who is Ukraine's ambassador to South Africa, covering a wide range of issues around that situation in her home country.